Welcome to Forgotten Popcorn, where we talk about movies that have made us forget eating our popcorn. Today we're talking about Oppenheimer 2023.
Yep, phenomenal movie. Fun fact for everybody listening, between the three of us, we've managed to watch it a total of 54 hours.
We're such losers.
50,
It's really sad.
yeah,
I love it.
Yikes.
it's a lot, but it goes to show you we know a lot about it. We're gonna have a lot to say, so get ready, grab your popcorn, and let's get into it. So I want to ask you guys initially, what were your first thoughts when you watched it?
Go first, Will.
All right. So first time I watched it was Barbenheimer. Obviously that whole cinematic event. I did it on the opening Thursday, so even before like it was technically out. Enjoyed it a lot. It was good, obviously. But like when it ended, I had like kind of mixed feelings about it. I didn't fully understand it, like all the time jumps and the different perspectives. I was like, okay, a bit confused. I had to like go and read a lot of articles and watch a lot of videos. But I still give it like a 4.5, I think, after my first viewing. And then, I mean, ever since I've seen it now a total of 8 times. So yeah,
Solid.
now I can say it's one of my favorite movies of all time for sure. For sure.
Very solid.
Oh yeah.
For me, it was like my first time watching it was in 70mm IMAX in Toronto. And when I saw it, I pretty much loved it. I had built myself up like for so long with such huge expectations, right? I had been expecting for it for like over a year. Did I understand it? Yeah, I understood it, but I gotta say, like, I was lost when they were mentioning names and stuff like that, especially like, you're talking about all the scientists. I mean, although Albert Einstein, come on, that one I knew. But like, they're talking about all these scientists and all that stuff and all these like different generals and officers. And I was like, kind of like, okay, I'm lost in the names. Let's catch up. But I got the gist of it, Outside of that, though, I absolutely loved it. I went outside the theater and like we were all discussing it, me and my buddies. We were all like, this is a phenomenal film. Phenomenal. Like, incredible. Yeah. Come on, Alex. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I remember finishing it, and Will was actually at the theater at the time, and I came down. I was just kind of like, wow, like, what a movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you guys said it. It's fascinating and amazing how Christopher Nolan was able to just pull off, like, really just a political drama, and it's, how do you make that into an epic, Hollywood, like, A-list type film? Who knows? But he managed to do it. It's absolutely amazing. I want to touch on a little bit more of the understanding part of it, because from my gathering, I've talked to people who've seen it, and the first things they say is, yeah, it was a bit confusing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see what you guys thought the reasoning for that was.
I kind of want to jump in because I saw it with my girlfriend and she didn't understand it, which is completely valid because I guess to kind of like understand the film, you kind of have to have a bit of knowledge-ish, at least maybe even in either, whether it be in the region of the atom bomb or Oppenheimer or US history or anything like that, or Japanese history even. As long as you kind of have a bit of understanding on the history, then you understand the movie. As soon as you know who the main character is, Oppenheimer, then you kind of understand the gist of the movie and what the whole point of it and like where it all came from. But I think if you don't know who Oppenheimer really was, even just like even a small like glimpse of it, like he created the bomb, and there was a whole different like dilemma on whether it'd be created or not, then that kind of puts you in a perspective of, okay, now that's what I'm watching. But if you didn't know that, or like a little bit of Oppenheimer or the nuclear bomb or anything like that, you're kind of going into this movie like, well, this is a movie about a man who created something that killed a lot of people. And then you're kind of like, okay, well, what's happening? Yeah. So I get it. I get the confusion. I think that's mainly the biggest part of the confusion, especially the names. Especially like coming in, you don't know anything, and everybody's name dropping all these scientists, all these characters, all these different like scientific terms like fission, fusion. And you're like, what is going on? So I guess like maybe scientific background would help a little bit too. But other than that, I think if you know these things, you're going into the movie, you're enjoying every bit of it, you're understanding at least most of it. That's what I think.
Yeah, I fully agree. It's a lot to digest.
Yeah.
Like 3 hours of sitting down in the theater. And if you don't know much about the history and you're hearing all these names, like they can be a bit overwhelming. But like you said, sorry, hit the cable there. Like you said, if you have just a tiny bit of understanding of history of World War II, anything like that, you'll obviously go in and have a great time.
Yeah.
For me, it was really once I realized that the black and white and the colored were there the Strauss and Oppenheimer perspective. Once I realized that, then it clicked more in my head. I was like, okay, now I see. Because you're seeing Oppenheimer like in a different light when it's in black and white. Because Strauss obviously hates his guts.
Yeah.
So when that clicked, I was like, okay, now I get it.
You saw the movie on Thursday. I saw it on the Friday. So like,
Yeah.
I had like already clips of people like talking about it and being like, oh,
Right.
the black and white is Strauss. And I was like, damn, kind of ruined it for me. But I kind of went into it understanding a bit more. So I get that. You know, I didn't get that experience the same one.
It was honestly really weird.
Yeah.
I was sitting through and I was thinking to myself like, okay, we just saw the scene, but in black and white. Why are we seeing it again? You know, it was. But then the second that connection, when it clicks, it goes like, now I get it. And then you start thinking about every single scene and it just unravels all in your head. And it's phenomenal. Super well done.
Yep, perfectly said. Absolutely, yeah. Especially that it gets confusing if you don't pick up on it, like you said, with the color switch. Especially when there's many scenes with the when they gather for the AEC committee, and then it cuts from like the exact same thing you just saw, but two different colors. And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
that's just confusing. So once you figure it out, then you can really understand the story there.
Exactly.
All right, let's get into, I think, probably the thing we want to talk about the most. Let's talk about the cinematography. Let's talk about our favorite shots.
Oh boy.
Hoyt van Hoytema, I think I pronounced it right, is a goat.
Oh yeah.
I love this guy. Everything he's worked on is incredible. I have to say, I think from the beginning, just seeing Oppenheimer's face, like just that close up, especially in 70mm IMAX, it's done. You're crazy. You're like watching it. You're like, holy crap! It literally looks like the person's there. You can see all his pores. Just that shot, incredible way to open it. First of all, and then the ripple effect on the water, crazy too, because obviously it links towards the end. But I think I have over here a couple of my favorite shots. I don't know if I'll just name all of them, or what do you guys think? Or like, will we go around like a little round table kind of thing?
We're gonna
I
end
don't
up
care.
probably repeating ourselves a bit if we go like each one by one.
There.
So if you want, list a few, and then we can
Let's
each-
go.
yeah.
Okay. So I gotta say that one shot, right at the beginning, the water dripping, and then the green apple with the cyanide dripping from the side. Just that little drip of like the cyanide coming from the side. You're just like, oh man. You're like, it's the realization. It's crazy good. When he grabs his hat and the pipe, I love that.
Obviously, badass moment.
Yes. You also get that scene has like him with like the back shot, I guess, you know, like the classic
The
Nolan.
Classic Nolan, yeah.
Yes. And then also another one is when he's looking at the Trinity Test Tower, classic Nolan as well, with like, I think there's like a sign or a car on the side or something like that.
Yeah, like a Jeep.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So classic Nolan
Which
shot.
if I'm not mistaken, should be in the film reel right here.
I don't think
In
so.
the middle there.
No, that's a similar one. That's a similar shot that is his back. That's you're right.
Yeah.
You're right, but that's not the one I
You're
was
talking
talking
the one
about.
with like the full tower.
Yes,
Yeah.
the full
Okay,
tower
okay.
in vision. Yes. By the way, if you're watching, this is basically the film reel. We have it up there as well, but we got this from the IMAX. If you check our video that we explained when we went to Toronto to watch it, you'll see it there. But we made a cool little light box where you can experience it.
You made a cool light box.
I was gonna say, you gotta correct that.
Fair. I guess the slow-mo of the mushroom cloud, I absolutely loved. Incredible.
Yeah.
And then the close-up of Cillian at the end of the movie as well.
No.
Those were all my favorites for the whole movie. I named a lot. I think I stole a lot of your guys' favorite
Oh, for
shots.
sure.
So
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh,
Good.
so for me, I start off by the Can You Hear the montage? The Can You Hear the Music montage?
Oh,
Just that whole like 2 minutes is
So
super well done. Not just the cinematography, but the editing behind it as well. I find it phenomenal. For some reason, I'm not sure why, but I just really like the shots outside of the Institute for Advanced Studies when Strauss is like trying to recruit him to become the head. I don't know why, but that scene of like Strauss like walking out, adjusting his suit, I just really like that scene. I find it really cool. Like you mentioned, the whole Trinity scene from literally the start of when the timer starts going down to all the way at the end. Phenomenal. The last scene, his speech after the bombs are dropped in Hiroshima, his speech in front of everyone who was at Los Alamos. So good. I can't say anything else other than so good. It's all I can say. And then the Truman scene in the Oval Office, when he takes out the cloth of his jacket, wiggles in the space, you know. It's just, oh my God, he's so like such a dickhead.
Yeah.
But it works perfectly. And the quotes he has in that, we'll probably get the quotes later, so I'll save them for that. But so powerful. What about you, Alex?
Yeah.
Oh man, obviously, like every single one there. But I feel like for the most part, every part of this movie is so well shot and done so well because it has to be almost. The view, the cinematography has to complement what's happening because if the film is dull, then it's hard to grasp people's attention.
Yeah.
Because no one's just you're just listening to a podcast, and which is not a bad thing. Keep listening. But you know what I mean? So it's like listen, I agree with what we said earlier about how it's confusing and there's a lot to retain and there's lots of names and stuff like that. So if you don't have cinematography to complement all that information, you lose the people. And so that's where the black and white comes in, and all these VFX that are used throughout the film. That's what Christopher Nolan needed to do, and I mean, who better to represent that? I mean, let's be honest. A lot of his movies are very dialogue based. There's not a lot of action in some. I mean, yes, the Batman series does have more action than most of his other films. I guess Tenet as well has maybe more than
quite a bit of action. Yeah,
but there's a lot of like dialogue.
Yeah,
that, like
even
is very important.
Dunkirk too,
Yeah.
right? Even that, like there's action, but there's a lot of dialogue there. So if there was any director to do that, to write and talk about a film and demonstrate it that way, it's him.
For sure.
So I mentioned VFX, so why not? Let's talk about it because it was honestly, I feel like the main driving point behind this film. They're like, we talked about this guy who created a bomb, and we didn't use CGI. Right?
How?
Yeah.
I remember seeing that news come out where it was like, Nolan reveals that there will be no CGI for the Atom test, and I was like, sorry, what? How are you gonna do that exactly? But super well done with what they call them bigatures. So it's like miniature scale bombs, but as big as they can make them to still be able to control the explosion.
Yeah.
And then just hyper close up on it. It's crazy how much they can do with just like a tiny little explosion to get all the sparks and the mushroom cloud to come out of it without actually being an atomic bomb is just ridiculous.
I fully agree, and I think they kind of like went back to like I guess the basics. I don't mean basics, but I mean like James Cameron does it really well too with like the special effects. He does like a lot of them like in house, I guess, or not in house, but like in person. And like something really cool. If you've seen like the behind the scenes of the DVD, which we have right up there, then basically there's 3 hours behind the scenes. Definitely check it out. In those 3 hours, you'll basically see how they did some of those kind of like special effects. There's this basically really cool, whenever they're doing the little bombs, little tests, and they're all hiding behind the wood and everything, or like the protection, they explain how they basically had like the sand shift on the ground. And like whenever there's like an explosion, it kind of like pushes and lifts the sands in like a way that like will create like a wave,
Right.
It's super sick. And like, it's all practical. There's no special effects to like create like dust like moving around, And it's super sick how they had. I don't know if you remember. It was probably about to say the size of this table. It was like really big like mechanism that they had like hidden under, and it would basically just like it would like pull some of the strings and then you'd see it like float and you're like, whoa, it's super sick. Special effects, they went above and beyond, especially for like a film, like for like film. Like there's no like editing process. I find the thing that impressed me the most was first the bomb, like you talked about, and then the atom splitting, like in Oppie's head. So whenever he's sitting down or in his dorm or whatever it is, he's like laying on the bed and you just see like everything splitting or going around, and he just like everything's going crazy. I find it super crazy the way they put that in the film, and then on top of that, like the way they made them. I remember. We saw that they made them like a fun way. I don't remember exactly. Do you remember like the way they made them? They were like talking about.
It was in a mechanism that they made, right? It was like contained, right? Yeah. It was in some like essentially what it was like I want to say marbles, but they were
low-key marbles.
Yeah, it was basically marbles in a little like chamber, and it wasn't so much as like it was a blender just shaking them, but there was a bit more math to it because they wanted a certain speed and like you have to line it up with the frame rate of the film as well to make it look natural, because if you match it, then it's like floating. If you guys ever seen like frame rates match with helicopters, blades and stuff, so you don't want it to be floating, right? So there's a lot of math involved in it, and they said in like the behind the scenes, they're just like, it's just one giant fun science project trying to figure out all the ways of doing these VFX and just pulling off these
They make it sound so simple.
Yeah,
That's just a science project we're doing.
Well, yeah, like they were saying in the behind the scenes, that was just like almost one part of the team would just be like every day just trying new things and testing out new ways of trying to show this through camera, knowing they're not going to be relying on anything that the computer can do, and then bring it to Nolan and being like, is this good? And then he'd be like, no, yes, or whatever, right? And so you just keep going back and forth. I mean, that's incredible. That's like hands-on stuff, and you can really feel that through the film when you actually get to watch it.
yeah.
It's ridiculous. I'd be curious to know how many hours went into just figuring out, not the actual testing, just doing the paperwork, the math behind it, as to how to get that right, to spin properly, to get the result. It must have been something crazy years before they actually started filming anything.
I'm sure a lot of it just kind of was like a mix of things that because like, as you know, Nolan uses the same crew every time, right? Because it's just, that's the way you do it when you're Nolan, right? You just grab the same people. Goes for cast as well, and we'll talk about that. So obviously they know what they do. They do it at their best, right? And they talked about it also in the special features that like when you're on a project with Nolan, you want to push yourself even further.
Yeah.
And for not just for Nolan, but for everybody else, because you all know you're going to be a part of something really special, because it's Nolan. Anything he puts his name to is going to be seen. Will it be good? That's up to you to decide. But the fact that his name's on it, people are coming to see it, right?
That's
I mean,
enough.
you make a movie like this and you put someone else's name on it. Would it make as much money as it made? I don't know.
Yeah.
But of course, the style and everything would be completely different.
Of course,
but name alone
the Nolan name
means
is
a lot.
such a big selling point nowadays.
Yeah.
You can't mess it up.
And I think what he did say was also that the reason why the cast list is so crazy, right? Because I think that's one of the biggest things that pulled me, for example, to want to watch this movie was the cast list. I basically would see Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., Florence Pugh, Matt Damon. You're like, what are all these like incredible actors, like Emily Blunt, like all these incredible actors back to back, and then you start opening the rest of the cast list, and you start seeing so many other people. You know, like you see Rami Malek, Gary Oldman, Jack Quaid. You know, like you see a bunch of people. But like Nolan explains, the reason why he grabbed all these incredible, like amazing like actors and actresses is because he wanted Cillian to be at his best. Isn't that just crazy? Like he just basically like grabbed them all and said, I'm gonna build up the best roster possible so that Cillian can perform at his absolute best.
The most solid foundation possible.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. I find that's just something only Nolan would do, right? And I don't know if we mentioned it, but actually the script is written in first person, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
First person, and it's all for Cillian to carry. I don't think any other director out there would have done something similar. Maybe even compromised a bit on the actors, or maybe like not made the script like that, just to like really compliment and show that this movie is about Cillian and Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any other director that would have done that.
Script wise, putting it in first person, I agree. In terms of cast, there's only like a handful of directors that can assemble this.
Yeah.
Like if Scorsese calls, you're going.
Yeah.
So it's like there's probably only 4 or 5 that could succeed to get, let's just say, a dozen, if not more, A-list actors
We're
in a
talking
movie.
like Nolan, Scorsese,
Tarantino.
Wes Anderson.
Sure, Wes
Wes Anderson.
Yeah, I mean,
Even though you know you won't make money, like as an actor,
he
you will
still
not get paid
manages.
much, but you do it just for the art.
And like, I'm sure there's one more, but like to me, those 4
Yeah,
are
specifically.
like constantly. Like you watch any of their movies, you're like, oh, you're in the other one he made.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely an amazing crew and cast for that matter. I mean, we talk a lot about Cillian, and we mentioned the amazing surrounding cast that helped him become who he is, and he's so humble about it too. If you watch like all the interviews, stuff like that,
Yeah,
he's like, "Yeah, this movie's great. Everybody else is good," and then he doesn't talk about himself. I'm like,
Yeah.
"You're on the poster. How can you talk about yourself?"
The poster is literally just your face.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how do you not see yourself as a selling point?
No, that's it. It's crazy.
Mhm.
He to really dive in. Well, we'll dive into Cillian's performance a bit more in a second, but just to shed a little bit of light on that, Oppenheimer as a person was always a shy person, but he had a way of speaking and being able to, like, I don't know, just grab people's attention. And it's a weird like technique that not everybody has. Did he do it on purpose? Who's to know? I mean, he's very smart, but he did lack those social skills. But the fact, anyway, we'll dive more into that. But for Cillian, when I see him in interviews, he's very much like your normal actor,
He
not
seems
normal
so
actor, but just normal
mellow.
person. He's so
Yeah.
mellow. He's so calm. He's good. He doesn't want to like boast too much about himself. Like, and I respect that a lot. And then to like play a character who is, I guess, similar in that sense, but then has to be that extra it's not an easy task necessarily. So, but anyway, like I said, I'm not gonna jump into that entirely. But what I wanted to bring up, if anybody didn't have any last minute things to say,
Nope.
Nope.
Good to move on.
Yeah.
all right, what I really wanted to talk about here, and this is gonna be fun because the music.
Yes.
Oh boy.
And I definitely could hear it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not gonna be my only pun
Oh,
this entire time.
God.
Get ready for some more.
Oh, God.
Alvaro, you want to try pronouncing this?
Okay. Ludwig Göransson.
I respect it.
That's
pretty
my
good.
try.
Yeah,
That's my
yeah,
try.
yeah.
I feel like the name person is Will though.
That's true. That's true.
Go for it. Will.
I would have said probably similar. Yeah, about maybe like more like Ludwig. 'Cause it's probably like we want to be like
Yeah.
precise, but it's like Ludwig Göransson. Yeah, something
Okay.
like that.
There we
I like
go.
the accent on there.
Yeah,
That's good. You have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course, of course.
That's it. Yeah.
My God.
Music.
Mm.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but after I couldn't, like, I went to the theater. I went 3 times in a week. You went
4 times in like a week and a half, 2 weeks to watch
okay,
it.
I might have been similar then.
Yeah.
And then Alvaro, you
I did 2 in a week.
2 in a week. Oh,
Yeah.
but it was 270 millimeters.
270
so
millimeters.
It's covers both. Immediately when I realized I wasn't gonna be able, like, okay, I could bear to watch it again for sure. I probably could have sat in the theater all day and watched it.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
the fact that I wasn't gonna be able to watch it all day and I had to do something to fill that gap. Obviously, I was gonna listen to the music.
Yeah.
I mean, I had that on repeat. Everybody got their Spotify Wraps. If you're listening on here on Spotify, thank you for listening on there. And make sure you check out your Spotify Wraps. On mine in August, so like the whole month of August, that he was the peak artist the entire time because I was just had the
go.
entire thing on repeat the entire month.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Did it end up like in your top 5 all year? One of them?
I think him as an artist ended up in my top 5 because I don't listen to like a bunch of artists, so it was easy to
Right.
get into that category.
Okay.
But still, like,
Yeah.
I even after August, I was still listening like through
Yeah.
up until now. Even
Yeah.
today, I was just like, oh, we're gonna record today. Pop, like, listen,
Yeah.
Why not?
You know? Absolutely, I love that.
As soon as I'm in the car, it just like if it comes on, I'm letting it play. I'm not skipping. Like there's a couple
Yeah.
songs that you just like skip,
Yeah.
but this is one of them.
Not
like,
even.
specifically like can you hear the music? You're not skipping this. I don't think ever.
Impossible.
So far, every single time it's come on my phone, I've never skipped it.
No.
I find it's just such a masterpiece, right? It's dare I say it, Oscar worthy.
Oh, 1000%. If
Yes.
this movie
100%.
does not win Best Original Score,
It should.
Yeah.
the Academy did something wrong. They messed up.
Yeah, I mean they've already been messing up, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. But no, 'cause I can't think of another movie whose original score comes even close to this.
insane.
No, like,
Like-
it stands alone on its
Yeah.
own.
Yeah.
It will not. I'm thinking about it too right now. No, it's too good.
Yeah, it's. I mean, there's so much like art and so much work that went into
Yeah.
this kind of. Specifically, can you hear the music?
Oh, yeah.
Specifically,
I mean, even other scores are really good.
Yeah.
I think I was telling you the other day, or even us, all our conversations
Yeah.
linked together. Every single score if you watch the movie enough times, like we have 54 hours of Oppenheimer, and more to come.
It's so sad.
Once you watch it enough times, you can kind of just sit there and then listen to the soundtrack, and you kind of know what the point of that particular piece was, and you know like the moment that it's related to. But I feel like the more you listen to the soundtrack, you're really understanding like why this particular like why it sounded this way and stuff like that.
Yeah. I 100% agree. There's different. I believe it's sorry. You have all the songs over here.
Yeah.
I think it's American Prometheus and Can You Hear the Music?
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are so good.
They're they have similar tone at one point.
Yeah.
Yes. So
there's also quantum mechanics when he's teaching.
Quantum mechanics has a very similar sound as well.
Yeah. Like you're listening to them and then you can hear slight differences. So like if you play them but you don't know what you're playing, if you were to catch just those parts, you kind of get a little confused, like which one am I listening to out of the three? But then as soon as you hear one of those fluctuations, you're like, okay, I picture this scene. I know exactly which song it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's the amount of like preciseness, I guess. I guess preciseness is the only word that comes to my mind. It's like the amount of the work put into it. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
Especially Can You Hear the Music?
Yeah.
Like you guys were talking about it earlier before we started recording. Like you said, they played it every single day, nonstop all day for like a week straight.
Exactly.
To get it perfectly how they want it to be done.
Yeah. Ludwig and all his like his group, his whole orchestra played it for a whole week straight.
Like,
I mean, crazy. It's insane because from what I remember it being, they're playing, if I remember correctly, I might be completely wrong, but they're like, let's just say I'm playing the violin, you're playing the violin as well, but we have different parts. It's different tempo, I guess, that we're both playing at. So like it's so hard because the whole like score, masterpiece, I guess, like fluctuates through so much that you kind of have to be in your own level, in your own game, in your own like actual I guess music sheet, and compared to anybody else's, and you have to completely like shut out everybody else. I guess that's why it might have taken like a whole week.
Oh,
you know,
for sure. That's something that's crazy hard to do. Like being in just a high school band, like when I used to play music.
Yeah.
Trying to just tune out, like I was a clarinet player, trying to tune out the trumpets that were right behind me. Sometimes was like, oh my god. Like sometimes they would play like way louder than I had to, and I'd catch myself like slowly crescendoing my notes, and I was like, wait, nope, go back down. It's not my time. Like, it's ridiculous. And like you said, the tempo changes that goes through in the song. I think it's like 8 different. Like
there's I don't know. You're right.
It's something ridiculous.
I don't know the exact amount, but I do know that it increases because the song a piece is only 1:50. So to accelerate that quickly you have no time. Like we're talking like I have here that at its peak it's 278 beats per minute, which isn't actually that difficult. But what's difficult is it's double time, so it's even more. As an artist, as a musician, achieving that is honestly a crowning moment. Like you must feel so good about yourself. And we talked about it in the Whiplash episode if you haven't seen it yet, but just the fact that music is just it's so connecting to who we are and grounds us in reality. And when you're in some senses, but when you're playing together and you're playing at that pace too, and then you just kind of get lost in it. And like you were saying, when it's difficult to focus down and you need to make sure you're not mixing in with other people's parts. And the fact that they did it with so much skill and really like, I think what I heard like originally when the movie came out, that this piece was obviously the most difficult, but not only that, it was believed that nobody could do it. He came up with it. He was like, we should do this. And then his wife was like,
you're nuts.
It's impossible, but let's give it a go. Like, let's try. And then like, you have to get the best of the best to do this, at least to achieve it in the proper amount of time.
Oh,
obviously. Like 7 days is insane to complete this. I'm applaud every single musician who's a part of it. Obviously, Ludwig gets credit for it.
Isn't his wife like one of the main?
Yeah, she's one of the main. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. The fact that she's the one that tells him, "I can't do this. It's impossible," to then achieve it, and it being like debatably the best and most memorable song of the whole movie is just crazy.
Yeah.
Don't understand.
Because I mean, he could have very simply just like done one portion, cut that out, clip it together, done another portion, cut that out, clip it together. But he decided to do the whole thing, one take. I mean, it's like not one take, obviously, but like, you know, the whole song in its completion, not like different parts like spliced together. You know,
I think easily could have done that, but
yeah.
Because I mean, show the dedication.
Yeah, because the amount of tempo changes is crazy. It's
insane, and on string too. It's, in some ways, no, you know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm sorry, anybody who has frets or, for that matter, like keys, string instruments. We do have a lot of ways that we cheat, and I agree with that. But a lot of string instruments is really, your intuition has to be really strong, because you have to know where your fingers are going to end up, and and at that speed you have to be one thought ahead, because if your finger slips, you're done. Like you can't, because with keys and with frets, if your finger's slightly off of the where it's supposed to be placed, you can still get the note for the most part, depending on the instrument. I do agree, like if you're playing flute or clarinet, it's like if you don't properly cover and you miss, then yes. Yeah. But for strings especially, like as someone who plays a stringed instrument, I really like, it's just
like I'm looking at your cello there, and like I'm just trying to picture it, like if my finger's off by like
it's
a centimeter, not even a centimeter, it's a completely different note,
because they're going really high up on the violin. So the further you go, obviously, the smaller the area for your fingers it becomes. So you really have to just like, you go from using all four to basically using two, and like one of them's not even the actual one playing the note. It's more of a guide to find where the note is, and then the other finger that's left where you have space is the one actually playing the note. So it's a lot of work, and it also hurts like a son of a gun after a while. So the fact that not only they do seven days to get it right and do it to what they deemed acceptable, but they probably played it multiple times throughout the 7 days is like, let's say they did an 8-hour shift, you know, like it's
a full-time job of
doing
the fingers.
But the like I said, like the absolute feeling, the jubilation of just like completing that as a group is it's incredible.
But I mean,
absolutely incredible.
I'm sure they all know exactly what kind of project this is, right? How important this is. Like not just this movie, but the music for the movie is. It's so incredibly important because it's such a huge part of history. And I think that's what I think either Christopher Nolan, I mean all of them, all right? Christopher Nolan, Cillian Murphy, Ludwig, even like, even Hoyt, like the cinematography. Everybody absolutely knows just how big of a movie this has to be to portray such a character as Oppenheimer, and how important he was in today's society, previous society, and all kinds of like different civilizations that we have had. He's probably, I think Christopher Nolan says, he is the most important person in history. I think that's what Christopher Nolan has said.
Changed the world drastically.
Absolutely.
Yes, and to create a movie on this person it's you have to be on a different level to want to make that, because you know the kind of challenge it's going to come with. You know how difficult it's going to be, especially even getting people's attention to want to watch the movie. You know, they did everything in such a way that I don't know, I don't think there's a better way other than like a perfect biopic, I guess. This is very much like it.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. Yeah. Not so to say that the movie itself is perfect, because obviously every movie has some flaws.
Exactly.
Absolutely, yeah.
But in terms of the historical context and the challenges, couldn't have said it better.
I think I'm going on a limb in saying that.
I'll support it.
We have Maestro by
it's coming out soon. Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, apparently that's gonna be a crazy biopic too. We'll see.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Perfect transition here. Talked about just how complex this role must be. So let's talk about Cillian Murphy's performance. I briefly talked about who Oppenheimer was. Just for context, I managed to finish the book, which is on the shelf behind us. It's massive. I think the actual book itself, before the notes, or before the 560 something. I don't remember, but it was a challenge to finish it in time. I was reading. I think I literally I've never read this much in my life in the span of because originally we were going to record it earlier than the current date, but I was challenging myself to finish it so that I could be ready. I was challenging myself to finish it for the release of the Steelbook,
right?
So that I could watch the movie and then see if I could start to connect the dots.
Yeah.
And yes, I did, thankfully. But there's so much information in it. I encourage everybody to read it. It's incredibly written and so in depth, and not to the point where it's boring. If you've watched the movie already, it's especially fun to read because you basically are following the story of the movie, but with a little bit extra details, little side stories and things like that. So I had a lot of fun with that. And to then see Cillian Murphy's performance, you really start to see how hard he actually worked. And it's a real achievement. I don't want to say.
Yeah, we can see. You know what you're gonna say.
I know. I don't want to say he's going to win the Oscar, but he definitely should. There's I really tried my hardest to see as many movies this year. I think I've done better than previous years to keep up with who's up for Oscar nomination. But I think this year, Cillian, it's his. Right, it's kind of like Joaquin Phoenix. Oh, well, he's in the race too, huh?
Yeah, for Napoleon.
Now that I think about it,
yeah,
he's not gonna win it. No,
I mean we got Cillian Murphy, we got Bradley Cooper, we got Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
We got Leonardo DiCaprio. Are you counting De Niro as
he's gonna be supporting?
Right?
He's gonna be against Robert Downey Jr. That's gonna be that race.
Yeah,
we'll get to that in the bit. We'll get to that in a bit.
That, yeah.
There's also Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, which you mentioned last episode.
Yeah,
he's good, but he's not good.
He's in the race.
He's an extremely talented actor who doesn't get enough credit.
But compared to this,
compared to the rest of them,
yeah.
It's sort of our conversation from our last episode of Hacksaw Ridge of Andrew Garfield.
Mm-hmm.
It's can he win an Oscar? Is it in the right scenario? Yes, but it's hard, right?
Yeah.
So does Cillian win? Yes, 1,000%. I agree with you because
Mm-hmm.
it's that portrayal must have taken such a toll on him for however long the filming process of this was. I'm not sure, but
90 days or something, some crazy turnaround. It was less than that. It was 65. Hold on.
Yeah, I remember we searched it up a while back, or I searched it up. I don't remember, but crazy. I mean, listen, Cillian Murphy's performance, Oscar worthy, yes, 1,000%. Bradley Cooper's performance hasn't come out yet. I want to see it because from what I've heard is he spent 6.5 years just
he's been
studying and preparing for just that 3-minute piece, or I think it's a 2-minute piece of just him.
Because he's actually conducting.
Yeah, he's actually conducting a whole orchestra that actually knows how to play.
Yeah.
And he does it amazingly. Apparently,
it's gonna be.
I want to see his performance because we can't I want to say Cillian. I'm saying Cillian right now, but I want to see Cooper's performance because I don't know if you've heard him through interviews and stuff like that. He is talking as if he knew the composer.
Right.
Not the composer. Excuse me. The what's
conductor.
Conductor. Yes, he's speaking as if he knew him. He's speaking as if he knows everything about him. I'm just intrigued. I want to see it because right now Cillian's winning it 1,000%.
Yeah,
1,000%. But
also, I'm pretty sure none of us have seen Killers with Flower Moon yet, right?
I haven't seen it.
No.
So
but knowing Leo, he's probably put in a decent performance regardless.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But we're saying Cillian.
But we're limiting what we've seen.
Yeah.
But if my list, if like we said, if it's Bradley Cooper, Cillian, Leo, Paul Giamatti, Joaquin, I'm missing 3 movies right now. I guess that's a lot, but I've seen parts of Napoleon on accident. Well, not on accident. I was doing my job. But
working at a theater, it's gonna happen, right? Yeah.
I accidentally did my job. My bad.
That's so funny.
But it looks good. And
I saw Napoleon the other day. It's good.
Yeah.
It's very slow. It's slow moving. The battle scenes are epic. They're on a scale that's crazy.
Ridley Scott.
Joaquin itself, he was good. It's not my favorite role of his.
Yeah.
Is he gonna get nominated? Probably just because
for sure.
Academy loves him.
Yeah,
but I don't think even without having seen Leo or Bradley Cooper, I don't think Joaquin is in the actual conversation from what I've seen.
Fair enough. I mean, what is he usually 4 nominations?
5.
5.
For
Okay.
actors, yeah.
So I mean, he could make the cut.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, easily, of course. It'll be interesting.
I'm excited.
I'm really excited.
I'm really excited.
Oh, actually, he was also in Beau is Afraid. I'm just scrolling through this. He was in Beau is Afraid, which was this year as well.
Oh, that's true.
That
That was
was
like
this year.
way earlier, but
Was he better in that? I didn't get a chance to see that. I did
didn't
want to
see
see
it
that.
either.
It
Me
looked
too.
good.
I really
Yeah.
liked him in Beau. I think
yeah?
he was better in Beau than Napoleon. For my personal opinion, I preferred his Beau performance. Yeah.
They would probably nominate him for Napoleon just because it's more of like
Yeah.
an epic
It's-
and
yeah,
a
yeah.
historical piece.
It's
Just
a-
because it's
and
Yeah,
it's
I
Oscar.
suppose
it's a
A24
biopic.
film, right?
Beau is A24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Regardless, talking about Cillian, he's a actor who's very talented but he's never had the opportunity to take front and center in a film. He has his TV show as you guys, Peaky Blinders, if you've seen it or not. I watched the first couple episodes. It's not my cup of tea, but he's good as always. I do, I do find it a little hard to he's very, very different from Oppenheimer in that, but like just looking at him, I just go, Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair.
I can't see it other way.
Yeah. But no, but like anything he's in, usually, even in small roles and stuff like that, he's still very good. And, Batman Begins. And so,
Yeah. He's a great scarecrow.
yeah, I think he's done enough to really show that he's a, as much as the Academy shouldn't be looking into back, history of an actor to decide
They
whether or not
always
they
do,
actually
though.
deserve to win an Oscar.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, that's sometimes what, they end up doing.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure.
Leo's Oscar.
Which we talked about extensively last episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
You asked earlier about how long it took to film it. Oppenheimer took 55 days apparently, which is absurd. Absolutely absurd, because we know Nolan, he doesn't do redos.
No.
So like that's even then, like it's crazy.
I'm just trying to think because like they had to build so many things. They had to do so many like, not just build, but like so many of the visual effects that I'm thinking right now. It's like 55 days to do all that stuff.
It's
like,
insane.
to do the bomb.
But-
We did the president scene. I think is
President scene was probably their most difficult, as you know from the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to put in and actually get ready for all this. But at the same time, Oppenheimer is such a unique one because they use a lot of just on location. They went to the university. They went to like these places. They went to they didn't go to Los Alamos, but they went to different. They went to his house. They were on location for these things.
Yes.
Yes, there's still work to be done to make these places accessible. I think even in one of the behind the scenes. Sorry, Will, you said you didn't see it yet, right?
No, I haven't seen the behind the scenes. I will go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like you're spoiling a movie here.
Fair enough.
It's a good behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But it honestly doesn't necessarily show more than what you may not have already known in terms
Okay.
of like,
Right.
but it's fun to see because it's like such a good movie and you get to see like real, like what they were, like one of the I don't know if it was like ADs or whatever. I don't remember who said it, but they were just like, yeah, so we just like, we greened out the background, and Alvaro and I, like, as we were watching it together, we looked at each other, we went, they use green screen? And she was like, no, we just like put up a giant forest in the background to block the highway.
Yeah.
Like they just built like a giant shrub.
Yeah.
So but for some of the scenes on location, because like they wanted to use the actual places, like they said in one of them, they wanted to use his living room, but his living room is extremely tiny. So how do you fit lighting and IMAX camera into a place you're not going to change?
Yeah.
So you could cheat, you could rebuild sets, which is fine if you want to use a stage and stuff like that. But he said, you know what? No, let's go to where this is, and that's probably on top of all the amazing research that he did and read through this amazing book and everything like that, is why he won the what was it, SAGA or what was
it was the scientific award.
Right. Yeah.
I'm trying to find it now.
I remember seeing something go by on that.
Yeah, so for anybody who doesn't know already, he did win an award that basically recognized his contribution to science in representing sort of the history behind Oppenheimer and everything that he had done for the community.
Yeah, I found it. So it's the 2023 FAS Public Service Award. So he was awarded that for depicting the scientist Oppenheimer and bringing in the threat of global nuclear power, as well as all the different innovations that he created for the movie. incredible.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I think he's the first director to ever be.
Yeah, because the FAS is a science award.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, it's
that's really cool.
incredible for him to do that. He's already won award in.
Yeah, one
It's not
award
even
in.
award season yet. He's already.
Oh,
He's just
man.
gotta hold on there. He got a couple more coming probably.
Yeah.
Oh, for
Let's be
sure.
honest here.
For sure.
He's at how many Oscars now? He's at I actually found it here. He's 5-time Oscar nominee.
Nominee.
No
Nominee.
wins.
No wins. It's possible he hasn't won. We've talked about how
wait.
Interstellar was close but didn't win and stuff like that. No, I don't think did Interstellar win that. I always forget the award stuff.
I don't think he won. These are nominations.
The fact that it's not telling you,
I know.
it's probably
Why is Christopher
He
Nolan
has
not
not
yet?
yet won an Oscar.
oh,
Wow.
that's
Damn.
incredible. To not win an Oscar whatsoever is like
With
how.
movies like Dark Knight, Inception, Interstellar,
Dunkirk.
Dunkirk.
I'm
Like okay,
shocked
wait,
right now.
So we say what was okay? Wait. When did Interstellar come out? 2014,
2014,
right? So Oscars of 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like you know what? I'm gonna go on a limb and say he probably wasn't even nominated.
wouldn't surprise me.
For that one,
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I could see it's already for best visuals. That we knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
Actor in a leading role. Blah 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 blah. Yes. Oh, Bradley Cooper's there for American Sniper.
look at that. They compete once again.
Yeah. Oh.
Because this time Bradley Cooper will probably be because he's director as well.
He's
for Maestro.
director and actor. Yeah.
So there's a
So
chance he's nominated
yeah,
for both.
he he wasn't even nominated because he got really wow. Okay,
it's ridiculous.
there's
but
some
hey,
good. Listen,
we're not the Academy.
Birdman won, so
Fair.
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay.
Boyhood was nominated. Foxcatcher was nominated. The Grand Budapest was nominated. The Imitation Game was nominated.
Okay.
So-
I'll take it.
It's
But-
I don't know. Let me try one more. One more.
Yeah.
Give me another one.
Dark Knight maybe.
yeah.
Dark Knight. I
Dark
feel like
Knight.
Dark Knight
So
should get
that's
something.
20.
2008.
Okay,
So
so
go
2009 awards.
2009.
Oh, 9. Yeah. What?
Almost.
That's not. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I'm looking down at his movie list right now. Like I'm looking at Oppenheimer, right? We have Dark Knight, Interstellar, Inception, Tenet, Dunkirk, Memento, Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins, Prestige, Insomnia, and Following, and not a single win so far. That's shocking to me.
So he wasn't nominated.
No way!
I hope I'm in the right one here. Yeah, 2009.
Oh
So
man.
yeah, he
Dark
wasn't.
Knight?
He wasn't nominated.
What did he get nominated for then? I'm assuming Dunkirk then.
Must have.
Dunkirk was
what's,
2017.
2017.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
28.
he was nominated for Best Director in 2018.
Okay.
That's
so-
the only time he was nominated for Best Director.
What won in
No
2018?
way.
Let's see. I have it here.
I'm actually shocked.
Whoa. Okay. Shape of Water won that year.
Del Toro, right?
Yeah.
Del Toro.
I'm just.
Okay.
Hmm,
Okay.
That's a close one. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's still ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think
Like-
that would have been his time to win. Actually, I feel like it's all flashed like coming back to me now because there's a lot of people saying Oppenheimer is Christopher Nolan's one big
Yeah.
Oscar
Yeah.
bait movie.
Yeah.
And if anybody doesn't know what Oscar bait movie means, is essentially people believe that directors, when they start on a project, their sole purpose is to win an Oscar. I mean, obviously that's their goal, but I think most of them deep down just want to create art.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are like, oh, clearly this is Nolan just pushing for an Oscar.
Oscar bait. No.
Yeah.
Get out
It's like, what? Get out of here. Come on. Speaking of push for an Oscar, we've got Robert Downey Jr. as supporting cast.
Oh yeah.
I mean, whew, like what a performance. I mean, do you like, okay, you can't put him leading obviously, but like, man, is he like so integral to like the entire story?
Yeah.
He very well could be nominated next to Cillian,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't complain.
I mean, I
No
would because
argument.
like I'm really scared. So
No, yeah, but I mean, like, no matter which one you decide as like the main actor,
yeah.
sure, because he's just as important to the story.
Oh, 100%.
I take it, but I'm going Cillian.
yeah.
Like
Same,
I
same.
get where you're coming from,
Yeah.
but
But
like no.
Yeah, no, Cillian's is
Yeah.
way above. If you want to nominate both, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
get it.
I think they'll both win, like, because RDJ will be in supporting actor,
for sure. He'll
Well,
be
He,
nominated.
my opinion.
I think he'll probably win. Supporting actor is usually the category that's a little not easier to predict, but it's just like when you try to compare different people in leading roles, it becomes a little more complicated because it involves so much more than just like a performance, because it's like
The movie
story,
surrounds
the
them.
movie,
Yeah.
yeah. But when it's the supporting role, it's like, I don't know. Like if you look at a supporting actor and you go, I remember you from that movie. I think you've done a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I think even after our 70mm watch, we were kind of thinking about it a little bit. We're thinking, is he really in the movie that much?
Yeah, that's true.
But like
Yeah.
he is, but he isn't,
Yeah.
right?
It's not that much screen time, but
No, but he's like impactful.
Yeah.
Like, he's just always
every
on.
scene he's in.
I find it's. I'm sure you have quite a bit to talk about it, especially from the book that you read, American Prometheus. But I find, I don't know what it is, but it's just so vindictive, right? Like RDJ just performs it so well that you just know, you can feel Strauss's character, Strauss's as a person back then being so vindictive and just like basically doing this whole plan, like this whole culmination of everything he's done just to spite like Oppenheimer. And he does it so well because you believe it. And you're watching it and you're
fully.
like, he's doing it on purpose. He's planning everything out. He's had everything in his thought. He's planned everything. And even that one scene when I think he's talking to the people around him in his room, right after he was at the court, and he was pretty much saying like, he says something. He says like, "Oh, we should revert back." And then the next day, it's in the newspaper. Like he had already brought it up. Like
That's right.
It's the way Robert Downey Jr. portrayed the character. Like, yes, these are true things that happen in real life, but like the way he portrayed him, the way he brought him in, incredible. Like it's just an actor that, you know him from Iron Man, right? I mean, it's like most people know RDJ as Iron Man, but I think after this movie, people are gonna know him either as Strauss or Iron Man. I think that's how big his actual performance was.
I think it will be two different categories of people who will be able to go Strauss, Iron Man, for sure. Oppenheimer is not your typical go-to movie theater experience. Yeah, it's very different. And so in that idea, it makes it more difficult for people to sort of want to remember like Robert Downey Jr. in this movie, so it's like he's impactful, but like it's not the same as like his impact as Iron Man. So they're just like,
I get it, but for me personally, whenever I think of Downey Jr. now, I just think of Strauss.
Oh yeah, I'm on board with you there.
Oh, I'm
I'm
the complete opposite with you guys.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm an MCU fan since the very start. With me, he'll always be Iron Man. That'll never change.
I don't know, man.
But to me, this has solidified him as like I don't want to say an actual actor, but like someone who can do serious roles.
Fair.
Someone who isn't just Iron Man.
Not like Chris Evans in Ghosted, right?
In his wonderful movie Ghosted on Apple TV. Go watch Ghosted.
I just had to bring it up.
Yeah, a lot of those actors end up getting typecasted.
Yes, 100%.
And I think now this has allowed him to venture out of the comic book stupid one-line comedies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like Alvaro said, I see him as Strauss in black and white.
Of course.
But yeah, you're right. Like I'm looking at this last couple years of work, and it's basically from.
It's terrible, honestly.
I mean,
I liked the Sherlock Holmes.
I liked him in Zodiac.
But Zodiac is.
He was in Zodiac.
I thought you were talking about like recent years. Zodiac is 2007.
But I'm just saying he was once a very
that's true.
recognized and successful like dramatic actor
in
a lot of ways. And Sherlock's also it's still not that gimmicky like Marvel-esque work. Yeah. So I think it was always there, but you're right. Like to get away from it. Was
he chasing the bag? Maybe, because obviously Marvel was paying him crazy amounts of money. Do you want to stop that?
Especially towards the end there, yeah.
I don't know how much money he was getting for an Endgame and stuff, but you can't turn that down.
I think I overheard it was like 200 mil.
Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think I overheard something like that. Like after I think it was like Endgame, Infinity War, and the Homecoming one. I think those three together he made 200 mil.
So
you can't turn that down.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that popped up here, I'm not going to go too far with this, but it just says initial paycheck was $75 million, and then obviously a guy with his stature gets kickbacks or parts of
Yeah.
box office, and the movie made 2.8 billion. So he apparently made an extra 55 from it as well.
There you go.
But who cares? Like,
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'll
So,
be
like,
happy with like 2 million of that.
Yeah, no.
Like,
So was the ability always there? Yes. Did he get a bit distracted and just, you want to pay me this much money? I'll never say no to that, of course. Like, I can't blame him at all. But I think this has now opened him back up to the more dramatic world, which is going to be really exciting.
yeah,
I agree.
I'm really looking forward to that.
Actually, I had a question for you guys because this is like Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., but I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoyed Emily Blunt's performance. I found if there's going to be a like supporting actress, she should win it.
She might just.
I honestly found I was watching the movie specifically like the first time watching, and I remember leaving being like Cillian was amazing, Downey was amazing, but I was like, hold up a second,
Emily Blunt.
Hold up, you did incredible. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, she's always done really, really good in a lot of roles that she's done. Like almost pretty much every role that I can remember her being in, like incredible. I loved her in The Quiet Place, and then all of a sudden she comes in, and now she's this, I guess, like alcoholic mother. Right, and basically doesn't know how to be a mother, doesn't know how to support, I guess, like Oppenheimer in this kind of like venture that he's on. Even though she's incredibly smart and incredibly like she's a scientist as well. But like can't compete with Oppenheimer, and I find she portrays it in such an incredible way that you can see her pain and you can see her kind of like, I guess, like understanding, and it's. I don't know. It's just. I mean, you know a bit more backstory for Kitty, right?
She was more. She was never really what a lot of people seem to think with Oppenheimer and Kitty and their relationship was that she was always being shadowed by him, and obviously he's a huge figure, and throughout his life he was always in the main light. But she would always have his back, and we see that in the movie, especially with I categorized 3 sections of this movie, and the final half of the movie, or what I call Oppenheimer and his moral scruples, which is sort of when we go through the trials and everything. There's a lot of Emily Blunt and a lot of Kitty in that, and we get to see just really how strong of a woman she was, and her ability to think clearly. And really, just in a lot of ways, be the mature part of Oppenheimer that he wasn't in a lot of ways, that we didn't get, that he didn't get to be or didn't want to be for that matter. I mean, I love her performance. It's amazing, and it stays very true. And I don't know if any other actor could have played like that, like strong presence, because it's not body, it's just language, it's the way she speaks that really defines that like feel of like confidence.
When she's being interrogated at the end with Rob,
it's so good.
She's like the only one that sits there and like destroys him.
So good. Love that.
Everyone else is getting bullied and completely annihilated, and she's just there like, no, I'm not gonna have any of your shit. It's
facial expressions too.
Oh my god,
pushed it above and beyond.
I found she was really underused though.
Yes.
Because like she's such a big part of Oppie's life. She's his rock throughout many pivotal moments in his life, but she's barely in it for the first 2-ish hours.
When does she get introduced? She gets introduced. Oh, I have it here. Let me scroll up.
Of course, probably like 40-ish minutes in.
I don't have timestamps, but I have color coding. Hold on.
I love it.
For anybody wondering, I made a very thorough document of all of the scenes, and especially introduction parts, because there's a lot of different segments or things that I won't bring them up yet. We're going to talk about them later. Just things that I have small issues with in the movie, but
interesting.
Yes.
Just for introductions, like songs are named after characters in the score because the songs are like character themes. Like there's a Groves, there's a Meeting Kitty song. Like
So they meet relatively early into the movie, and it's the introduction at the party there. what was it? Oh, crap, I can't remember the other woman's name there. Let me
Florence
see.
Pugh.
No,
Like the actual
the
human.
girl he has an
like,
affair with, but the husband doesn't know.
What's her name? I can't remember.
I forget her name. Yeah,
I'm blanking.
Jean
They-
Catlock.
they make a joke of it at the end. It's like, they
Yeah.
say he died of heartbreak. It's like, oh no, he never knew. You know, like,
Oh my god.
I forget her name,
I
but
think I have it. I must have written it. It's a really good line. It's funny.
yeah, all that say, she could have been used so much more
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
in many more moments in his life, but for some reason she's just disappears.
Mm-hmm.
Always like she's there in the background. You see her.
Yes, immediately
But,
into the movie
yeah,
too. Yeah.
She's always there.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have that role until much later on in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Until you're really more in the third act.
Yeah, the third act
Yeah.
is where she really comes through.
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, that's still like 40 minutes of like just pure
of course,
screen, you
Yeah.
know, dominance, absolutely taking over every scene that she's in.
Mhm.
Like, I love the part where she tells. I'm not sure if that's actually in the last part, if it's in the earlier part when we learn that Jean Tadlock died.
Mhm.
I don't think I could say the other thing on YouTube. They might block this. So if you watch the movie, you know what I'm referencing
Yep.
to.
Mhm.
But she basically tells him to, like, in her own words, I guess, man up. But she says you have to stop playing the martyr.
Yes.
Like pull it
And
together.
Pull it
Yeah,
together. People are counting on you is one of the
Mhm.
other things she says. Is that there? No, that's actually towards the end of the movie. I see here. That's actually when they're in their house on the campus, and he comes out. She comes out, or
Yeah.
she's already there, and he comes out, and he asks what she's doing, and then she turns around and she's crying, and then she explains, like, if you let them like toss you around, do you think they're gonna like forgive
Yeah,
you
yeah.
and whatever, and so. And then, she tells him, like, you need to stop playing the martyr, which is so true to who
Yeah.
Oppenheimer is.
Yeah.
I mean, just that whole scene is. I feel like that just kind of culminates like a big part of the movie is Oppenheimer being like, should I have created the bomb? Did I create the bomb? And it's like, was I the one responsible? And it's the whole. I guess it's a big part of the movie.
Yeah.
Right. You're going through the movie being thinking to yourself, is Oppenheimer to blame, or is I mean. It's a huge thing, I guess.
Yeah.
There's no
it's
proper answer.
No, there really isn't.
It's there's no answer like you guys are saying, but was it the president's fault? Was it Oppenheimer's fault? Was it the scientist's fault? Was it so many people? Was it Strauss's fault? Like,
Is it anyone's fault?
is it anyone's fault?
See, the thing, you're getting at the right idea.
Yeah.
That's why it's so complicated. And so the way I look at it is, and I think they kind of mention it throughout the movie. Actually, they mention it early in the movie when Lawrence basically tells him, like, he has a gathering in his in the lab.
Yeah.
And he's like, like, why is there a gathering for the
FACT.
FAC? Yeah, exactly. And so he's like, everybody get out. And then he talks to Oppie, and he basically just tells him, like,
I think I have the quote here that you're going for.
yeah,
You're not just self-important, you're actually important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, and before Lawrence says that, Oppenheimer says, like, it's not your people they're herding into camps. And so he brings up this very true, like they talk about it throughout the movie about the race to create the bomb because they believe that the Nazis are going to be able to have the same thing. And that's the belief all the way up until basically Niels Bohr comes by and basically tells them that
They're way off.
Heisenberg went the wrong way with it.
Yeah.
And then so they were happy because they were going to get the advantage. But, like, their goal was just basically to, like, stop them from getting it. Because in their minds, the West would be able to demonstrate it correctly, which there's...
I mean, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
okay. That's a whole other debate too.
Yeah. Because I mean, even after the Nazis already had surrendered, or lost the war, they still continued, like, finishing the bomb.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing that I think towards that part where he's talking to Kitty is where he really wants to take the blame for it, right? And we also see that during his talk with the president. he like Oppenheimer really is taking the blame for everything, right? And he feels at fault. Is he at fault? Like, right? It's super complicated. I don't think we're gonna get into that. But it's more so like his dilemma throughout the whole movie, and the way that you can understand that, especially through Kitty's character portraying that and coming in and saying like, "Hey, you have to be the Rock. Like, stop letting them push you around. Like, what's done is done. You know, like you can't change it. It's been done. And now you just have to basically stand your ground. They're talking crap about you. Don't let them do that. You know. And Emily Blunt portraying that, incredible. I think this movie has 3 actor Oscars. Like nominations, at least nominations.
They easily could.
Yes, like Cillian for leading role, Robert Downey Jr. for supporting role, actor, and then Emily Blunt for supporting actress.
Yep,
I'm going for
100%.
that. Yeah.
I mean, I can make an argument for this movie winning every single Oscar, honestly, but it won't happen.
It won't happen.
But
no.
I could make an
Everything
argument.
Everywhere all at once. That swept quite hard.
Yeah.
So
They got like 9 or something.
yeah. So hey, maybe, but again, who knows what the Academy might do.
Trying to find a movie with the most Oscars right now.
It actually might be that. Didn't it like break a record?
I think it's about time. I think it's Lord of the Rings.
Okay, so Ben-Hur, 1959, Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King, and Titanic, each received 11 Oscars.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's incredible.
That's incredible.
I've seen Ben-Hur. It's from 1959.
Yeah.
It's been so well done.
Yeah.
I've rewatched it multiple times, like twice actually. Really well done. It's 3 hours and 45 minutes, I think.
That's
It's really
a long
long.
movie.
But like you also have to remember it's in 1959. What else was coming out then?
Yeah.
Right? That's one
Like
thing.
their one movie.
Yeah. And then but you also have to remember it's an epic film. It's kind of like saying like Oppenheimer like right now, right?
Yeah.
For those times. So I definitely understand that. But I don't know. Oppenheimer, you think it'll get close to 11?
11 wins?
11
No.
Oscars?
No, it won't get 11. That's just like you have to have a really bad year to get 11.
Yeah.
Like
I'd be happy with like 6
5.
wins. Yeah, 5-6
5,
wins.
eh?
I'd be happy with that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because I do think it'll be the movie that comes out like winning the Oscars.
Yeah.
Right.
I think with a 5 or 6, that'd be pretty solid.
If not like winning the Oscars, it would be like the one winning the like, oh yeah, it obviously is going to win that, like sort of thing, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So like it should definitely, in my opinion, like the 3 categories we named earlier, both supporting roles,
Main
lead,
actor.
Nolan should probably win a directing award. This isn't just, coming up with an idea and just plot it onto a screen, see how it goes. This is meticulous work that took time. And listen, the American Prometheus book by Kai Bird it is, and I actually don't remember the other name.
Yeah. Martin Sherwin.
Thank you. It's an incredible resource, but you still have to do your work.
Yeah.
So this would be adapted screenplay then, I guess.
Yes, it's not.
It's not original.
No. That should be their category downright.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't see another. Like, there's no way something else wins that. We'll have to see when the Oscars list comes out, but I don't know. I don't.
So are we giving it, I guess, adapted?
Adapted. So we got 4 categories right now?
lead, both supportings, director,
Sure, director.
adapted,
Sound?
sound,
Sound.
Original
well,
score?
sound and score.
Or
And
score.
score.
7.
Could go to best picture.
It
could.
I could
It
see
could,
it,
yes.
but I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't win.
Yeah.
No, me
I
either.
would, yeah.
But I can make an argument for 8.
8.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can make an argument for 8.
8, get 5 of those. I'd be happy with that.
I'd be happy
Yeah.
with that. Yeah.
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 So I'm going 8 nominations. Or actually, let's do a surprise. I guess I'm going for 10 nominations.
10
I'm
nominations.
Because they
aiming
could get
high.
nominated
It
for
might
like
get
production
everything, yeah.
design. I don't
Yeah,
think they're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
win it because like
Yeah.
movies like Barbie exist.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
true.
But
Who knows, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like-
but I think you can get nominated for production design, maybe even costume. Honestly, because
Yeah, I mean, Barbie's going to win that regardless.
yeah, of
so-
course. But
But it might get it.
in terms of just nominations, good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
10
might get it.
nominations, 11 nominations. I think it's pretty good. I think I would say they're going to get about 10 nominations.
Yeah, they're going to get everything here. All right, guys. At this moment in time, for anybody watching at this point, we are leaving part 1 of our Oppenheimer episode. Yes, you heard that right. There's so much to say and so much we want to talk about. We decided to put it into 2 parts so that it's a little easier to manage for you guys and for us as well. So If you are still intrigued, our next topics are, I have some things to bring up for debate and some questions to ask Will and Alvaro. We're going to talk about Oppenheimer's perspective and Strauss's perspective. They're very important to talk about. Obviously, we're going to talk about what the main messages are. We talked about them a bit, but there's some more to go into there. And we're also going to talk about a bit of the controversy that's around. Obviously, we talked, again, a little bit about it, but we're really going to dive into the controversy around this movie. I have a few questions to ask them as well. So jump into part 2. It should be up already, and we'll see you over there.